Hi, everybody. It's Georgia Rose. Welcome to the Soul Space, Zenkuda Soul Space. Got a lot to talk about today. It's been very, very busy, even though where I am here in the Northeast, it's been really cold and rainy. We went from beautiful Indian summer. Is it proper to say that? I don't know. Should we say indigenous people summer? But it went from like 85 degrees and gorgeously sunny to it's about 50 degrees out right now and really rainy. So quite a difference. So the one thing I'm going to ask you all to do, if you would, is share the show because I'm going to take a few minutes to actually do that right now. And I also want to announce that Facebook has been a little cray-cray today. It's been like losing the feeds and doing all kinds of things. I don't know if you guys have been on, but I kind of have this love-hate relationship with Facebook, as you all know. But it's been a little wonky today. So if we lose the show on Facebook, hop over to YouTube, Strong Island, and the show will still be streamed live over there. So I think the world is trying to tell us something with the old Facebooky stuff. Like, hey, maybe we shouldn't be there. No, I didn't say that. So actually, I want to talk about quite a few things today. Just keep sharing this show. Hold on a sec. I'm actually looking for my stuff here. Share to a page. That's me. Zenkuda Soul Space. And want to talk about redirecting our thinking tonight because we have this beautiful full moon coming in on Sunday. It's a full moon in Aries, and Aries has a lot of power. Aries is a full moon that is going to make things kind of move forward and go, go, go. Arian energy is very much like that. So we want to make sure that we're ready for that because a lot of planets are also coming out of retrograde. And what happens when planets come out of retrograde is the things that we've been, circling with or thinking a lot about. Mercury came out of retrograde actually yesterday. So now the things that we've been thinking about, we've been going around and around about, they're all going to start to move forward a little bit. So you want to be prepared for that because when the full moon comes in on Sunday, it's really going to make things ramped up a bit. Now, we still have a lot of planets in retrograde. I actually put a graphic up last week. I don't know if I still have that. Let me just look at it for my own reference, even if we don't have it. But it was dates of when all the planets come out of retrograde. So we're going to be slowly, seeing that happen. Like I said, Mercury came out of retrograde yesterday. So that's the first one. And then we've got a couple of others coming out. Yeah, here it is. I see it now. I'm going to just put it up for myself. We've got Venus is going to come out not till January. Mercury comes out on October 2nd. And then we do have another retrograde in December, right after the holidays, right before New Year's for Mercury. Mars is going to be going into retrograde, I believe, October 30th, right before Halloween. And Mars is going to retrograde in Gemini, so that's going to be a lot of do-overs for us. But before it does that, this month, we have a chance to really make things move forward a little bit. November 23rd, we've got Jupiter coming out. We've got Pluto coming out October 8th. That's the other one I couldn't remember. So Saturday, Pluto comes out of retrograde. And that's a big one because it comes out of retrograde right before that full moon in Aries when we have more inertia type energy that's going to be futuristic and moving forward. So the full moon coming in on Sunday is a full moon that is extremely powerful because it's going to be right there in Aries with Jupiter. And Jupiter, right? I'm sorry, it's going to be, with Jupiter. And Jupiter in Aries. Is Jupiter in Aries? I see in my chart. I'm getting confused today. I'm doing a lot of stuff at once, which I shouldn't be. But one of the things that I'm doing is actually, Jupiter's in Aries. One of the things that I'm doing is this really great gala for our town supervisor, Rich Schaefer, which is on November 2nd. And you can get tickets through the Babylon Breast Cancer Coalition. So go over on their page and come say happy birthday to Rich Schaefer. So getting back to the retrograde, and the planets in the full moon. So we have this full moon in Aries. What does that mean? It means the moon is in Aries and the sun is in Libra. We all know the sun's in Libra because it's going to be somebody very important's birthday next week. Gee, I wonder who that could be. Oh, me. It's my birthday soon. Yeah. So we'll have a party on the show. So when the sun is in Libra and the moon is in Aries, basically it is a polarity of diplomacy, balance, and Aries is an energy that's all about me. Me, I. So when you have that axis of Aries Libra, it's all about the balance of relationships. So this full moon is going to be a lot on relationships. And if you remember in the beginning of when I did the October report, the beginning of last week, I did some reporting on October. And I said October, as soon as the Libra sun in around September 22nd the sun went into Libra, I said this is all about relationships for the next month or so. And it really is. And now we're really in the thick of it. With the sun in Libra and the moon in Aries, and this full moon also having Jupiter expanding everything, it's expanding our relationships. And I was talking about that the most important relationship we can have is with ourselves, right? So this full moon comes in. It's also another planet that's in Aries right now is Chiron, which is a planet of wounded healing. And when Chiron comes into this full moon and Jupiter is there, it's going to expand all this energy that has to do with where our wounds are in relationship to ourselves, the wounds that we have, our conditioning, what we've grown up with, and how we bring those wounds into our relationships, our traumas, all kinds of things. And the reason why the full moon does this is it's going to bring to the surface a lot of the things that maybe have been kind of simmering. If you think about, a simmering sauce on the stove, and if you turn up the heat just a little bit and you cover it and you walk away, what happens? All of a sudden you hear that boom, 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 and everything's starting to boil over. And that's really what this full moon is like. So how are we going to work with the energy in a positive way? Well, I'm going to talk about that today. And a lot of that has to do with redirecting our thinking. We have been in a situation, I'm going to say since early 2020, where we've really been conditioned and being put in lack. Why is that? Because fear puts us in lack. So something as simple as a toilet paper shortage puts our brain in a fear mechanism of lack. We start hoarding things because we think there's not going to be enough. And as soon as we start thinking there's not enough of something, we're in a lack mentality. And that can be kind of a very Aryan type of energy because Aries, the negative part of Aries is someone who's very selfish or when we act out and we have blinders on and we only see what we want. That's when we use that Aryan energy, that Aries energy for aggression. And the real way you want to use Aries energy is for assertion. So the first thing you have to do is get yourself out of that lack mentality. Because what a lack mentality is we think that there's not enough for us if someone else has something. Lack mentality is jealousy. It's, seeing someone get something and being very upset because you didn't get some too. And maybe now your chance is over that you're not going to get it because they have it. So when we're in that kind of mentality, it really messes us up. Lack mentality gives us a really low self-esteem. It makes us very unproductive in our lives because we're always thinking in terms of lack. And I'll give you an example of how this actually is so prevalent in society now that we don't even really notice it. And there's this fad now, if you watch YouTube videos or you watch a lot of, health type of people that are talking about diet and exercise and thing. The big thing now is intermittent fasting, right? I know someone I know is doing it and they starve themselves for a little while and they eat their meal and they starve themselves for a little while. And certain people are swearing that this is how you lose weight. I don't abide by that. No offense to anyone. If that's the way you believe, that's great. You have to think for yourself. This program is not about me teaching you how to think. It's about me talking and giving you information and you weighing in, and then you decide and resonate what resonates with you with your own discernment. That's being an adult in the chosen world, right? So now there's this thing that we're being shown and conditioned and told is really great, that you should fast intermittently. Well, the reason why I think that's really bad for you, even if your body responds favorably to it, is because it is putting your mind in a lack mentality. Your mind is telling your body it's going to do better if you withhold something. If you give it lack, it's going to flourish. That is so contrary to the way that humans are wired. We are not wired to be in lack. Lack does not bring us abundance. There is no lack in the world, no starvation, no detriment, no deprivation that's going to put you in abundance. So starving yourself for 3 hours before you're allowed to have a meal is screwing up and rewiring your brain to be in a lack mentality. What you want to do is feed your soul, feed your body, feed your life, feed your mind in a healthy way. And that's a lot of what the Libra Aries axis is, because Libra is all about balance and Aries is all about trying to do things one way. So if you can find the medium, and the reason why this full moon is so powerful is because a few hours after this full moon, Jupiter is going to be right in between the axis that we've been feeling for 2 years of the square between Uranus and Pluto. And Jupiter is going to be exactly in the middle of that, expanding both of those energies, which has been the freedom and limitation type energy that we've been seesawing with for 2 years. So, and now that Pluto is going direct, it's really going to make that energy like move forward. So you've got to get yourself balanced, you got to get yourself together, and you've got to get yourself out of lack if that's where you are. Now, you may be in lack and you may not even realize it. You know, something as subtle as what I was just describing with, you know, your dietary habit changes, right? So I have some notes here I just want to look at for myself. So, so it's all about putting yourself in an abundance mentality. So one of the things that I'm going to ask you all to do, because I've been doing this, and you know, I always share everything that brings me to ascension and abundance and grows my soul, and I always share it because I want you guys to do it too. So if this feels right for you, please do it. So tonight before you go to sleep, when you're just about having your head on the pillow, ask yourself this question and get in the habit. You know, a habit is formed in 21 days, right? So get in the habit for a little while, for the next little while anyway, of asking yourself this question every night before you go to bed and every morning when you wake up. And the question is, which of my current behaviors support my success and ideal life? And really think about that. Like, what are you doing right now, every day in your life? What's your habits? What's your lifestyle? What's your life that you're doing right now to support success in your life, to support your ideal life, like what you really are striving for and going towards? What do you do? Are you going to the gym for your body? Are you reading a book that's really helping you? Are you choosing your words more carefully? Are you being more loving to your family? Are you clearing out things and cutting cords with things that are not serving you? Which behaviors that you're engaging in right now are really supporting your success in life? And if when you ask yourself that question, if the scale is balanced more towards not doing that, you're in lack. You're in a lack mentality. Because when you're in an abundance mentality, you're doing a lot of things to support your success. You're doing a lot of things to put your feet forward towards that ideal life. And I've been doing this exercise for about a week now. And I have to tell you, I've changed a lot of my daily grind. I've changed a lot of my daily habits to have more behaviors that are supporting my ideal life, what I want to strive for, supporting my successes. You know, even in my career, you know, my daytime earthbound career, I'm a realtor. So there were some patterns of success that I always engaged in that I kind of slacked on. And now I'm back to doing those and seeing the abundance from that. So whatever it is, think about that question. There's been studies right now that being in a lack mentality actually reduces your IQ. That there were studies that showed that if you're in a lack mentality, you're so preoccupied with deprivation and scarcity that it actually makes your IQ lower. How about that? We're trying to function, and the lack mentality that we have is actually making us unfunctioning, dysfunctional. So if that's not a good motivator to get yourself functioning in an abundant mentality, I don't know what is. Great book to read is, and it's not a spiritual book per se, it's just a really good book to read. I read it a long time ago. I pick it up every now and again, is classic, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. That is a great book to read. It will put you in an abundance mentality. So fear and scarcity becomes a mindset. And I think that we all got in that mindset a lot when we were under quarantine for COVID. And even though that's a long time ago now, I feel like we're still in that lack mentality. It's something that we really have to work very hard at getting ourselves out of. Now, there's some things that happen, examples of a lack mentality, and I'm just going to list these and then we'll go to cards because I know you all want cards. But just really try to listen and tune in on this because it's really important information for the way we want to live our lives and really get your spirit flowing. So Examples of lack mentality are always wondering what you'll need to give up. And I think a lot of us are doing that now because we're seeing a little bit of a restriction on our wallets, right? Things are getting more expensive. We're in an inflationary period. The media is definitely playing us all into that, where we are, really thinking about, oh, I'm going to have to give up this in order to do that, or my kid needs money for baseball or soccer, so I'm going to do without this, or so we're thinking a lot about what we have to give up. And I think we need to redirect our thinking. And maybe instead of thinking about giving up something, maybe we should be thinking about what we need to do to earn more or put more money on the table or be in more abundance and increase what we have coming in instead of trying to give up things. That's what I would say. Believing you can't have certain things, like you go car shopping and you probably can afford the car, but you're telling yourself you can't have it. That's also a conditioning. Feeling jealous of others, we talked about that. Withholding calories and food, we talked about that. And then this is the big one, waiting for the other shoe to drop. You're in a lack mentality when you have the ability to, even in joyful moments, worry that they're not enough, that something else is going to happen. And this gets back to who's in control, right? Remember, I told you that axis, that Uranus-Pluto axis that we've been in for 2 years is freedom control. Uranus wants us to break free and be free. And Pluto wants us to be in the fixation of things in order to, something has to die. It wants to crumble structures in order to bring them new. And Uranus is pulling us into that newness. So the freedom and control factor, this is a big deal with lack and abundance mentality, because in the lack mentality, someone or something is controlling you that shouldn't be. Something or something, the media, your partner, your family, your friends, your clients, people in authority, your belief systems that were fed to you, they're all controlling you. And when you go into an abundance mentality, you start to be open to really discerning for yourself, listening and hearing other things. And then it becomes a situation in your life where you're so open that you're getting hydrated with information. You're getting hydrated with spiritual things because you're not closed to the lack. You're not restricting yourself. So really look and see who's in control of your lack or abundant mentality. Are you being fed this mentality from an outside source? Because that's really true with a lot of us. An abundance mentality, what do you feel like when you're in abundance mentality? Well, you're noticing what you can be grateful for in your life. You feel expansive. You feel, wow, I'm just so grateful that I can, drive my car to this store today and buy some fresh fruit. I'm grateful every morning for the blueberries in my cereal. I was grateful. I had a very stressful day today, and I started to drive to the studio, and I was a little, and I was going to make a phone call to get more in. And then I was like, no. Georgia, you need to have a really good relationship with this time for the next 20 minutes. So let's put yourself in a calm place and just think about how grateful you are that you get to do this show, The Soul Space, every Monday. And that's what I did. And I put myself in this beautiful abundance mentality so I could bring that to the show. So I wasn't in the lack, like I don't have enough time, I have to get this done, or something's going to happen. That's a lack mentality. You're depriving yourself. You're limiting yourself. You're closing yourself. So another example of an abundance mentality is being open-minded and compassionate. When we are in lack, we don't have the openness we need to help others. We don't have the openness we need to be compassionate for others. So it's really important that we put ourselves in that abundance mentality. And when we're in an abundant mentality, we think about how our actions benefit others. Like I'm coming to the studio here tonight, I was really into myself and, I'm going to make this phone call. I got to get something done. I don't have enough time in the day. Or today really sucked. And then I took myself out of that and I put myself in service to others and said, how lucky am I that I get to be in this space and impart some wisdom and give people the benefit of my own wisdom today that I've been through, things in my life and trauma, in order to help others. So you turn it around. When you're in an abundant mentality, you turn it around. So the downside of thinking there's not enough is, like I just said, your IQ actually goes down. Usually if you're in a lack mentality, no matter what diet you go on, it's not going to work because your brain is telling you there's not enough food. You just want to eat it all. Oh, I'm in a lack mentality. I got to eat. There might not be any more tomorrow, right? It's the truth. When you're in an abundant mentality, weight just falls off you because you don't feel like you need to eat all the time because you're not telling yourself there's not enough. watch your circle, the friends, family, influencers that you're around, the things you listen to, the things you do, your music, your influencers on YouTube, all that. Watch your circle. Are these people somehow putting you in a lack mentality? You know, I have a friend that every time I call them, they tell me how they can't pay their bills. I don't want to be around that, because that's just like, I can pay my bills. I'm good. Thanks. Reframe your thinking. Hearing yourself say things like, I can't have that. Oh, that would never happen to me, that somebody just won lotto or something, right? Take yourself out of that and start to think about, like, when you see someone with an abundance, instead of being jealous, think about, wow, what would I do if that happened to me? Man, if that happened to me, right? You put yourself in a higher vibe, right? So do what brings you joy. That's the easiest way to put yourself in a non-lack, in an abundant mentality, all right? So the 5 steps to abundant thinking, I'm going to give you guys these. And I actually just taught a class on this for my regular job. I was going over all this with my agents, my sales agents, because when you have a job to do, or you have a goal that you want to crush, whether it's a project, whether it's a spiritual project, a trip you want to take, a relationship you want to have, you cannot be successful at that in a lack mentality. You have to be in an abundance mentality in order to crush your goals. And that's what the soul space is about. That's what Zen Cuda is about. Zen Cuda is about bringing spirituality to success in life. Zen Cuda isn't about, living a monastic life where you're deprived. It's living a monastic life in the joy of being a modern day mystic and a modern day spiritual being influential of your own life, having your own power, stepping into it in order to be the person that ideally you really want to be. And every day doing behaviors, supportive behaviors for that, right? So the 5 steps to abundance thinking I just gave you, and then I was going to give you the 5 ways that you actually can do abundant thinking. Focus on what you have, all right? I know we're all in a really tight time right now. Do I have a call? So I know we're all in really tight times right now. We want to tighten our buckles and belts and, do without all the extra expenses, and that's fine. But there's a difference between being prepared and staying in an abundant mentality and being in lack and thinking, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to pay my electric bill if I don't give up this thing. An abundance mentality is we focus on what we have. Like, I'm so glad I have enough to pay the bill. You know what? I just have to rearrange a little bit of things, redirect some energy, redirect my own thinking. I'm going to be fine over winter because I know I have the resources within myself to be what I need to be in order to be in abundance. I have resources. Hey, you know what? That thing in the closet, I could sell that. Hey, I have a really good skill. Maybe I could, do some part-time work. Or focus on your resources instead of what you have to give up. And that's going to be one step. The other one is reframe your thoughts. Reframe it to encompass those beautiful resources that you have, right? I just recently was thinking about some things that I can do that I love to do that I haven't done in a long time, that I can actually probably increase my viewership and increase my audience doing. So, go back to your roots, find what really brings you joy and reframe that thinking. And then the other thing is look for the positives. You've got to have gratitude every day upon awakening, upon sleeping. You've got to have that gratitude every day. If you don't, it's going to put you in a lack mentality so quickly. Gratitude, I always say, is like a magic potion. It's the antidote for everything that goes wrong in life. Gratitude is the antidote. So that's what I got. I'm going to read comments for a little bit, see what's on here. That was my little speechy for today. And the reason why I chose to do that today and talk about lack versus abundance mentality, I actually saw a couple of workshops come across my feed where people were charging like $50 and a lot of money to go to a seminar about abundance and lack. And I just thought, like, maybe that's a little counterproductive because people are going to put themselves in lack to go to an abundance seminar. So I figured I wanted to give you some tips free tonight. And what I can tell you is that the only one who can put you in an abundance mentality is you. You can sit in a room for 3 hours on a Saturday and listen to somebody, but then you actually have to leave and do it. So just do some of the things that I just told you, and you'll probably be really, really great. Seriously, abundance is such a wonderful thing, and it's going to really, put you where you need to be. Anything that we have to do in our life and achieve, we can't do it from that place of thinking we can't do it. That's a lack mentality. If you look at any sport, whether it's a linebacker or a swimmer or a marathon runner, or a sprinter, like they don't burst out of the dugout or the finish line or burst away from the starting line thinking they can't do it. Like nobody, like Mark Spitz, who's a famous swimmer, I guess back in the day now, like he didn't, push off from the edge of the pool thinking, I don't have what it takes to do this. I don't have enough energy. No, he pushed off from the pool being like, I got everything I need to do this. That's the mentality you got to be in, really, especially now because the world wants to put you in deprivation, I'm sorry to say. There's a big part of the three-dimensional world, the media that we see, that really wants to put you in deprivation. And the real reason why they want to put you in mental lack is because you're much easier to control that way. And so who do you want to be? Who's in control? You're in control if you're in an abundant mentality. All right, so I'm going to go to cards. Look at my comments. Who have I got here? Oh, thank you, Anne. I love them too. I just ordered some in white as well for the holidays. Hey, Aaron. Yes, finally, we've got some planets moving forward. Pluto has been like right on a lot of my major transits. So this week's going to be the roughest week for me because when the planet starts to go direct or retrograde, it's like slowing down or moving forward. There's a short period of time where it's what we call stationary, and the planet is almost like creeping to a halt, even though planets never stop, obviously. But it's just slowing down or speeding up, and it actually like kind of stops like almost a little bit. So Pluto right now is at the slowest it's ever going to be. I think it's right at that 24 or 25 degrees, maybe 26 degrees of Capricorn, where I've happened to have a couple of major planets. So it's just been a real hoot for me. But this week will be challenging as Pluto stations to go direct. Means it's moving like this. And then it's going to go. By the weekend, it'll be going a little faster. So whatever happens this week is probably what started back in June, around June. Also, with Mercury going direct right now, the projects and the things that you couldn't get off the ground the last 6 weeks are going to finally start to have a little bit of movement. So you want to make sure that you've got a lot of stuff, that you got everything prepared that you need to do. Okay? So I'm looking at my comments. Hey, Anne. Hey, Janine. Hey, Sarah. All right. So I'm going to go to some cards. What I feel like I want to do today, when I was driving into the studio, I was just like, I don't really know what I want to do on the show, but I'm going to like kind of let it flow and see where Spirit's leading me. And right now he's actually leading me to just pull some cards for the collective. Like I want to pull some cards for world energy right now because I feel like we need to know what's kind of going on. And I feel like there's a lot of things that are going to be going on. Election day in the States is November 8th. We're also coming into right now what we call the eclipse season. And eclipse season is, beginnings and endings. And we happen to be having a major eclipse in Scorpio with a lot of Scorpion energy. A lot of planets are going into Scorpio by the end of this month. And that eclipse is actually on election day here in the States. So anything can happen. This is definitely an energy when you have an eclipse in Scorpio. The energy is going to be revelations, meaning things will be revealed. A lot of times Scorpio energy, which comes in more towards the middle and end of the month. First, we have this full moon in Aries, which is a very much an ignition energy. And then Scorpio energy starts to come in as the sun goes into Scorpio and a few other planets start to go into Scorpio, Mercury. And then, of course, the moon goes in and we have the eclipse on November 8th. And when that happens, it's really new beginnings and endings. It is a change, oftentimes, the way that the transits are and the way the planets are shifted right then. Because I was studying the chart. I don't want to go into too much detail for you guys because, you can fall down the rabbit hole. But I'm going to just tell you what the energy is. It's really an energy of new order. And very interesting that the elections are that day because it's really like world power. And I would not be surprised, I'm not wishing this on anyone, but I would not be surprised if somewhere across the globe there is another very strong figurehead, I'll call it, like the Queen that passed. There's something else that's going to happen where someone else is going to pass. I don't know who or what, but that's what the energy is gearing towards. It's an energy where you find power changes tremendously. You'll see power struggles and power challenges and power dramas coming out in your own life. These can also mean that they're a good thing, because sometimes you may be in a situation where you have an inequality in power. This is an energy where power speaks to truth. This is an energy where if there's an inequity or something where you have been powerless, something's going to break apart to give you an opening to become powerful. So I think what a lot of this energy for me is, and when I say for me, I mean the way I feel it psychically, is I feel like the universe is really pushing us to be our own authority. I feel like the universe is really starting to push us to choose ourselves, and not in a selfish way, but just to choose ourselves in a way of we're not waiting around for someone else to choose us. And I'm seeing this play out in a lot of the conversations I'm having, a lot of people who are coming to me about relationship issues. Like in the last week, about 5 or 6 people, same scenario, same emotional scenario with a little bit of a different situations. But all of it is really about us knowing what our abundance is and what our own resources is, and stepping out of that lack and someone showing us that we're not good enough, that we are in lack. And I think that those messages are being amplified and radiated out in so many ways that now we have a situation coming in come November, come the middle end of this month, come 2023, where it's really like, basically, to be blunt, take care of your crap because we want you to ascend. And I think a lot of people are going to really start seeing their worth. And you're going to, sometimes that's painful to learn our worth. Sometimes we only learn our worth through humility. And sometimes we have a lot of trauma in our life and we're stripped away of things and we're in loss. But then it's like that phoenix rising from the ashes, which is what Scorpio is all about. And we find ourselves, and it's really beautiful. And I know that was my story, about 12 years ago. And I think that's where we're coming. So I just pulled 3 cards. I don't know if Bob's in the booth, if he can do a camera on the table. Pulled 3 cards for the collective energy. And I have to say that these cards, the 2 outside cards are pentacles, and pentacles are abundance. So I love that I got these beautiful abundant cards. But I'm going to tell you, when I pull these cards, and I'm going to actually pull 2 more, one on each end, they're telling me. Queen of Cups upside down, and the Star card. So when I pull 5, for some reason I always pull 5. 5 is a number of change. And when I give a reading personally to somebody, if I do 5 cards like this, it's to tell a story. It tells me a story. So on camera, you're seeing these a certain way. I'm going to read them the way they are to me. So when I say tell a story, a lot of times if you come to me for a reading, and I also do astrology, I do mediumship, I do tarot, whatever your choice is, you can get that on my website. But whenever I do a reading, I might do a really big spread, and I might have a spread that I'm doing. And then at the end, you might see me pull 5 cards at the end and put them in a row. Because psychically, if I pull 5 cards, I can feel the story. That's just how I read. So what I'm getting here, and I pulled them, I pulled these 3 and then the 2 ends. So what this is to me is the beginning and end. So I'm getting the Queen of Cups here. And this is now a reading for the collective. So the Queen of Cups is representing the world, all of us, all of our souls. The Queen of Cups is an energy of emotion. It's an energy of fluidity. I feel like this is bringing in the Scorpio energy, because Scorpio is a water sign and Cups is water. And we were talking about that. So I think what the universe is telling me, what my spirit guides are telling me, is at this time, especially when the sun goes into Scorpio, somewhere around that 22nd day of October, we're going to feel an abundance. We're going to feel an energy start to shift. Right now, there's a lot going on, but at the same time, we feel almost like we are in a holding pattern. That's because we have so many planets in retrograde right now, but they're slowly starting to move forward. Mercury today, Pluto on Saturday, and on throughout the next few months. So when I have the Queen of Cups, that's a Scorpio energy. It's an energy that's showing me that our lessons are going to be in our emotions, that especially when we grow towards the middle of this month, emotions are going to be very, very fluid. We're going to really feel them very deeply. We're going to want to take some deep dives. And the fact that this card is reversed to me, not to you on camera, means that it hasn't happened yet for me. So the emotions are coming in. So the best advice I can give you is we have a couple of weeks before this energy really starts to happen and take place. This is a time of preparation, especially with so many planets in retrograde. The planets want us to prepare for the energy that's coming in towards the middle of October, the end of the month. We're going to have a very intense time, and into that November eclipse on November 8th. So anything right now that is not bringing you into abundance Anything that is bringing you into deprivation, mentally, physically, emotionally, you want to make sure you're clearing it. You have a couple of weeks to do this. So do it gently and lovingly and get yourself timed out to do it. It could be something as simple as a closet that you need to clean out, or decluttering your home, or maybe you have a loved one that died and you need to clean out their house and you've been putting it off. You need to start it. You need to start getting rid of the junk, getting rid of the clutter. Clean out your computers, especially now that Mercury is direct and we're not going to be in a retrograde. You want to start emptying out your email box. You want to start emptying out all your electronics because we hold a lot of energy in our phones. Clear out those old photos, clear out the old emails. So this card is this card is the Five of Pentacles. And the Five of Pentacles is a card of, even though there's pentacles here, it's a card of deprivation. It's a card where the pentacles are here. They're shining light in through the window, but you have these two orphans lost in the storm. This is a card that symbolizes our inability sometimes to see the wealth, our inability to sometimes see our own resources that we have in order to move forward in our life. So again, the universe is really speaking to us here because we had this Queen of Cups in reverse. Hasn't happened yet. We're not in the emotion. We're not in the learning what our resources are through going deep within us. This card is showing you, look, there's a light in the window. There's coins there. There's abundance there. But you're looking down like you're in a snowstorm, walking through the snow, like you're just deprived. I'm an orphan in the storm. I can't see the way. But you can, because the Knight of Wands is coming in. And the Knight of Wands is Aries. It's an Aries energy. Wands is fire. It's ignition. Look at this knight on his horse, charging to where? Abundance. Look at all the coins. This man is so much abundance that he's helping the poor. He's helping the needy in this card. So what have you got here? You got the full moon eclipse energy building, right? As soon as the sun starts to go into Scorpio around the 20-something of this month, we start to dive deep. We start to see our resources. We start to see abundance. Look at all the water at the feet of this beautiful Queen of Cups. Her cup is going to runneth over with all this abundance, all this hydration. But if you don't wake up and see the light in the window where the pentacles are, you're going to be walking with your head down in the cold. So look and see, what are your resources that you can use to bring yourself to the beautiful way forward, this Knight of Wands coming into all this abundance, the hard work paying off, having so much that now you're bending to help others. You're in that abundance mentality. What can I do to help the world? And this card, the Star card, which is upside down because it hasn't happened yet. This is the culmination, the ideal outcome that we all want, the Star card. The Star card is the ultimate card of balancing our spirit and our material world to know that we're always in abundance. If you look at this card, here she is, naked in all her glory, the star, filling one jug, right, and emptying another. It's the idea of the universal energy, you know, the universal energy like Reiki, when we take that beautiful universal energy and we breathe it in and cycle it all through our chakras and back up again. So this is the story, guys. The story is towards the middle of the month, we're going to feel that energy shift. Things are going to become emotional. We're going to start to see some shifts in order to bring us a little bit of humble pie, maybe, a little bit of humility, a little bit of, you know what, I need to go home and close the door and really redirect my energy to the abundance that is within me. Look in the window. The light's there. It's shining down on you while you're doing all that meditating, while you're thinking about the abundance that's in your life that you need to capture again. Then the Knight of Wands comes to bring us a ride on the horse to all the abundance. And then we get this beautiful ideal outcome come the springtime when we've finally done all this work to get to here. So never has there been a more crucial time for us to clear out the debris. Don't be the orphan in the storm. Don't be that person that can't see the light in the window, that's just looking down. We have to see what's being offered to us. And I'm going to confirm that reading for the collective by pulling a spiritual card. These are my soul cards that are still in publication. You get them on Amazon. And there's also, I have a deck of oracle cards that I created. It's called Circle of Light. They're 22 cards. They're gorgeous. If you want to purchase those, PM me. I'll tell you how to do it. So I am going to pick a soul card. Look at this. Love it. Love it. Soul card that came in. All of this beautiful energy, all this light in the skull of our head. This is the crown chakra. And this is where we need, I'm going to put this right on my son. We need to have, I'm going to put all the light around it because we need to illuminate this beautiful crown chakra right now. We need to realize that everything we need is within us, head to heart. And pretend your heart is a brain, because it is. If anybody follows Greg Braden, we know we have as much heart resonance in our chest as we do in our brain and our head, the crown chakra and heart chakra. You want to use that beautiful universal energy, just like the star card that we just had, that you see her cup going forward into the pond and being emptied and then coming back up, right? This is how this goes. You want to breathe in through your nose, out through your heart, in through the nose, out through the heart. Cycle that energy and then reverse it. You're breathing in through the heart, out through the nose. Connect your heart and head. Drop down into the heart so that all this light in the crown chakra ignites the emotions that are going to bring you into the resources that you need to be abundant in your life. That's really what the next 6 weeks are about. So if you've got anything that you're not taking care of and you're procrastinating, you better darn well do it, ladies and gents. Because if you don't, the universe is going to smack you around a little bit. So I'm going to pick one card for everybody. King Kenny Kenton's on. Hey, King Kenny. I'm not seeing all of my comments because my video keeps freezing. Facebook has been a pain in the neck today. I got 17 comments. I only can see 4 of them. Okay. Okay. I'm getting them back. So if anybody has, hey, Lori G, how are you doing? So if anybody has any question, put it in the chat. I'm going to pull a couple of cards. I'm actually going to pull a card I'm going to pick somebody tonight because I'm running out of time. I'm going to pick a card for Sarah because I feel Sarah's got sweet energy going tonight. I feel like your energy is just so sweet, Sarah. I feel like you're just like, I don't know. Did you just have something done like meditation or Reiki or something? Because I feel like, I don't know, I'm getting a sweetness from you. So I'm going to pull 2 cards. They're telling me 2 cards, Sarah, for you. All right. And I will not be doing a show on Halloween. So, okay, Sarah, I feel like something maybe has or is about to culminate for you because I'm seeing you like a very emotional situation has kind of been coming to a head. I feel like that's ending now and ending in your favor for some reason. I just get really like good feelings about this card. And then I see this card, the 3 of Pentacles, which is almost like a celebration. It's like spiritual, almost like, the Trinity, like 3 people in a church, like talking or preaching or praying, but it's a good energy. So I don't know what happened with you today or in the next couple of days, but I really feel like something's culminating into really sweet energy for you. So just take that with you because I definitely feel it. I don't know. Something's brewing, something good. So something's brewing good. You're going to hear something about something. So I don't know what this is. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, now I can see. Okay. Thank you, Anne. I love my candles too. All right. So I'm going to pick a card for Janine. Janine and I were comparing recipes this weekend. I made soup. She made soup. We were doing all kinds of stuff. Okay. And if anybody wants to share the show, I would love that. Trying to definitely share. Okay. Janine, these 2 cards are for you. Oh, Pentacles, baby. And the Star card. Oh, my God. You got like 2 of the best cards in the deck. So whatever, I feel like there was something that you were thinking about today, maybe a new resolution or something that you want to change habit or something that you're committing to doing. Now keep that thought because I feel like that's what these 2 cards are about. Like if you can keep committed to something, especially along the lines of what we were talking about in the show tonight, Ace of Pentacles and the Star card, so much abundance coming your way. Man, if I had to do a reading for myself, I would want these 2 cards tonight. Boop-a-doo-doo-doo. Great cards. Totally great cards. All right. Okay. So I want to talk a little bit about the way that I read because a lot of people, like I said in the show last week, they think I'm not reading cards right. And it's actually that I read psychically. So sometimes the card literally may not mean what you think it means if you're learning tarot, but it means that for me. And the other thing I want to tell everybody is also what I'm seeing now is that the energy is very stagnant almost like you're going into a store or you're going out in the world or you're trying to do an event and you're not really getting a lot of play, a lot of activity, a lot of response. People are not responsive right now. It's because of all the energy that we had in retrograde and in retrograde still. This week, as Pluto goes station, a lot of things are going to feel like time is standing still. It's just the way that things are going to feel. So just don't think that there's anything wrong with you or that you're not feeling things correctly. You're picking up on the world energy. You might feel like you want to go, 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 but it's almost like we're kind of like suspended animation feeling a little bit. That will subside as we go through the week. All right. So I just want to thank everybody for being in the soul space with me. And I will be back next Monday. And next Monday, I have a really good show for you. I'm going to put something up on my Facebook page about it. And in the meantime, if you can like my page, if you haven't already, you can find me on YouTube at Zenkuda. And you can also find me on Instagram at Zenkuda Official. I love each and every one of you. And I look forward to spending next Monday at 7 o'clock with you. Call in, comment next Monday. I want to hear all your beautiful voices and see your faces. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.